I want to go over setting up AWS Cloud 9 specifically for use in our CSE 313 environment. This is really helpful if you change computers a lot, or for some reason you don't have access to your primary device right now. So the first step is go to the aws.amazon.com site, sign into the console, create an account if you need to create an account. Y'all know how to do that. Next, search for Cloud9 under the services. Select Cloud9. This is specifically a IDE that we can use for C++. It has everything that we need already installed. So it's really useful for us. Go ahead and create an environment, call it whatever you'd like. Make sure that new EC2 instance is selected, T2 micro. So T2 micro is the free version and should be plenty for our use. Select Ubuntu server. You can change whatever you want there. Next, so specifically we want to make sure that we're using the Ubuntu platform, but that's really all that we need to select other than the defaults. Once you've done all of this, create the environment, and it will start to provision. The provisioning does take a little while, so while it's going through that, I am going to quickly go through setting up a GitHub personal access token. So this we'll need to use, since we're not using Visual Studio Code with the GitHub Classroom login, this is what we're going to need to set up. So if you go to your profile dropdown under settings, developer settings, personal access tokens, we'll need to generate a new token. Again, this is so that we can clone repos without the VS Code extension. So generate new token, call it whatever you'd like. I'll go 313 summer AWS. Now the expiration should be at least the length of the summer. I always do no expiration. You'll get weird authentication errors if your token expires, so just use no expiration. So select repo as your scope. That's really the only scope that you need for this guy. Generate token. Now it's really important to note, this is the only time you will see the actual token text on GitHub. That's the only time it'll be shown. So copy it straight off. And then we can go back into our AWS cloud. And I like to create a file here so that I can have it close by. You don't need to create here. You can use a like Key Vault, any other password manager to keep this stored and encrypted for that extra level of security. This is enough for me, but use as much security as you'd like. But this is what you will need in order to clone repos. And after this, you should be good to go. So we can quickly go through and accept a PA. So if you go into one of the PA documents, this one is for learning exercise 0. Click this location of code link. And then it will, if this is the first time you've gone to that link, it will show you accept assignment. Go ahead and do that. And once your repository has been set up, you'll see a link to your repo. And we can clone this just like any other repo. So you copy this guy and on your console, git clone here. It will ask you for your GitHub username and password. So your username is what you're used to. The password is going to be your personal access token. So just paste it in there. And we should be good to go. Some things to point out here is if you haven't cloned to or committed from the command line, you'll need to get familiar with committing from the command line. And we have documents that go more in depth for this, but I will give you a couple pointers here. So the first thing I always like to do is run git status. It helps when you're in the environment. So git status will show you what has changed. I really recommend only committing the files that you have changed, that you know that you want to change. It's useful in practice and industry too. So we can add specific files. I'll add everything just because I know that I've only updated buggy.cpp. So we do a git add. Use good commit messages. That's also good coding practice. So added comment, more or less a good commit message. You'll get one file changed, one insertion, so you'll get that feedback, and then push origin main to actually push to the remote repo. You'll get asked for your username and password again. It is still your PAT that you'll be using here. And it'll go ahead and push. So we can check that we've done that correctly by making sure that you can see added comment here, which is great. So we've added our comment. Once you've done your commit, you'll see under actions that we have started a workflow. So this workflow is the auto grader going through and testing your code. So that's really the workflow that you'll be using for AWS. Thank you.